The Punisher targets Spider-Man. This is the Amazing Spider-Man issue 129, published in February of 1974. The issue was written by the late great Jerry Conway and penciled by Ross Andrew. Our eyes are immediately blessed with this iconic cover of Punisher looking through his scope and firing some shots at Spider-Man. The colors also really stand out in this cover. The story is titled The Punisher Strikes Twice. It immediately shows us the Punisher engaging in target practice with a Spider-Man looking mannequin. We also see the Jackal sitting on a machine complementing the Punisher's skills. You demolish the plaster statue on your first shot. If you do as well with the real Spider-Man, you'll have performed the world a truly great service. Next, we have the Punisher make a comment about the rigidness of the rifle and needing to see his gun supplier known as the Mechanic before he goes after Spider-Man. The Jackal reminds Punisher that he is hired to kill Spider-Man, to which the Punisher, interestingly enough, asks if he thinks he enjoys that. The Jackal states, "Of course you do. That's why they call you the Punisher, isn't it?" Then the Punisher retorts, "I only kill those who deserve killing, Jackal, and Spider-Man deserves to die." Spider-Man is seen swinging through the city when something grabs his attention. We see some kind of criminal activity taking place at street level, and Spidey takes out his trusted camera to take pictures of himself in action. As the crooks look up and spot Spider-Man, they comment on how they've heard that Spidey's as much a crook as they are. Spider-Man says that they've got it wrong as he swoops down and kicks two of the thugs. One of the thugs shoots at Spider-Man, who easily evades the bullet and continues to show us his acrobatic skills, as well as reminding us that he has a proportionate strength and abilities of a spider as he kicks two more of the thugs. They continue to shoot and miss as Spider-Man webs them up for good measure. We then see local law enforcement come and pick up these nice webbed up gifts courtesy of Spider-Man. Spider-Man then thinks of the thug's words about him as also being a crook and states, "This entire town is convinced I killed Norman Osborn, thanks to Jameson and the Daily Bugle. Even the crooks think I'm one of them." So a quick reminder that this issue occurs a couple issues after Amazing Spider-Man 121 and 122, where Norman Osborn as a Green Goblin died after having killed Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man was blamed. Having changed back to Peter Parker, Peter then heads down to the Bugle to see if he can cash in on his photos. He briefly talks to Betty, who invites him to a party that she and Ned Leeds, aka the person who eventually becomes a Hobgoblin, are throwing for Christmas. Peter then enters the office, and we see Jonah also accompanied by Robbie. Peter lets Jonah know that he's got photos of the armed robbery, but Jonah's having none of it. "Don't mention that costume freak in my presence, Parker, and don't give me this nonsense about robberies. I want news photos, photos about the news, what's making headlines," and we see the Punisher on the front cover of a rival newspaper. Peter states that he's heard of him as Jonah yells at him to get out there and get some pictures. The last panel shows Peter having changed to Spider-Man and assumingly what looks like the Punisher perched on a rooftop about to take aim. Suddenly, Spider-Man's spidey sense begins to tingle, but he's unsure where the danger is coming from, when suddenly, we see a shot from the rifle and Spider-Man able to evade, and with his Spidey abilities sticks a landing on the side of a neighboring building. He then notices a gleam across the street on a neighboring rooftop. We see someone running, and Spider-Man immediately recognizes him as the Punisher. Spider-Man then questions why he's trying to kill him. Spider-Man also assumes Punisher is trying to escape, to which the Punisher states, "I wasn't trying to escape, I was merely trying to reach this," as we see the Punisher with a new gun and shoots a titanium alloy wire at Spider-Man, which ensnares most of his body. While Spider-Man's tied up, the Punisher goes on a tirade, interestingly enough, saying that he doesn't necessarily like killing, but it's something that has to be done. He further states, "You're all alike, using whatever means to get control of the public. Drugs, gambling, loan sharks, operations. Sometimes I wonder if that evil has rubbed off on me." Spider-Man then breaks free from the wire, much to the surprise of Punisher, and is hit with the right cross that sends Punisher straight into a chimney. A chimney that happens to have the Jackal within and slowly ascend as we see Spider-Man hit Punisher with the left right before the Jackal strikes to the back of Spider-Man's head. Dizzy and stunned, Spider-Man unknowingly stumbles to the edge of the building, while the Punisher surprisingly states, "I won't have him die this way, Jackal. It isn't just." The Jackal, of course, isn't very concerned as long as Spider-Man dies. Unable to focus, Spider-Man still manages to shoot webbing, which sticks to another building and has him crash landing through an office window, terrifying the female workers. Moments later, having gathered his wits, he returns back to the battle scene and finds a clue on where the Punisher might be. Having gone back to his apartment and changing to Peter Parker, Peter makes a comment about Johnny Storm likely having his Spider-Mobile ready, as well as needing to collect Harry Osborn's share of the rent. We then see as Peter is fixing damage to his costume, Harry has been outside in the hallway, seemingly paranoid, questioning if Peter knows that he's now the Green Goblin. Feeling alone and without friends, he just leaves. We also briefly have an appearance by Mary Jane Watson, as we see her talking to a local college professor, wanting her to extend his apologies to Peter over some previous misunderstanding. On the next page, we see Mary Jane question if she even wants to see Peter due to everything that he's been through, including Gwen's death, and reminding us how much of a free spirit MJ used to be back in the day. He's not exactly Mr. Fun these days, and if there's one thing Mary Jane's committed to in this great big old world, it's loads and loads of fun. Suddenly, we see the Punisher back at the Jackal's hideout and backhanding the Jackal with all he's got. He reminds the Jackal that he didn't want to kill Spider-Man that way and that he's not a common murderer, and letting a man die by accident doesn't qualify. So at this point, they both believe Spider-Man actually fell to his death. Punisher then storms out, needing to see his weapons supplier, the mechanic, as we also see Spider-Man, whose clue discovered at the fight scene, leads him to the same place. Punisher is coming out of the alley as he sees Spider-Man enter the armory, surprised at how Spider-Man could have survived and vowing to finish his mission. Spider-Man is then seen calling out to the owner but gets no response. We then see him come across a lifeless body while he notices some familiar slash marks. Suddenly the Punisher comes crashing through the window with Spider-Man questioning his ongoing effort. Punisher answers with a nice right kick to the face while claiming that's why he's called the Punisher. Spider-Man actually gives the Punisher his props while the Punisher lets him know that he spent years in the Marines as he suddenly sees his supplier dead. Obviously, the Punisher assumes it's another one of Spider-Man's victims as he lunges at Spider-Man with the right straight, misses, and hits the wall. All the meanwhile, Spider-Man continues to try to talk the Punisher down, but the Punisher is having none of it. Spider-Man jumps and sticks to the ceiling as he's trying to tell the Punisher to look at the body and manner of death. The Punisher continues to have none of it as he pulls out a gun trying to shoot Spider-Man, who's able to avoid the blast and web the nozzle. Spider-Man then shows us and the Punisher his spider-like abilities as he jumps around the room to finally land a double kick to the Punisher's face and knocks him out cold. A few minutes later, the Punisher slowly wakes up while having his wrist webbed and Spider-Man telling him he had to get a little bit rough with him because he wasn't going to win by using kid gloves. Spider-Man again tells Punisher to look at the body, and Punisher realizes that it was claw marks and now realizes it was the Jackal. Spider-Man also questions the Punisher about the clue that he found, with the Punisher letting him know that he's not stupid enough to leave a clue behind, which makes sense. So they both realize that the Jackal set him up to incriminate the Punisher with the murder of the supplier. They both appear to figure things out as the Punisher states, "He used me like a pawn. He'll pay for that. He'll pay." Funny enough, Spider-Man questions what the Punisher's whole shtick is since he used to be a Marine and now he seems to be some kind of justice-seeking vigilante. Starting to walk away, the Punisher states, "That's my business, superhero, not yours. Maybe when I'm dead, it'll mean something, but right now, I'm just a warrior fighting a lonely war." Spidey thinks to himself that the Punisher's got some serious mental problems as we start to hear sirens approaching fast. Spider-Man realizes that local law enforcement has likely been tipped off by the Jackal, and more than likely, Spidey will get the blame for what they find, like always. As we also see the Jackal perched up on a rooftop swearing revenge. This was an iconic issue from not only the 70s, but any age of comics. The Punisher's first ever appearance with the classic white skull on his chest complementing his blue costume. How did you guys feel about the Punisher's first appearance? Do you feel his character has changed over the years? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for the support, and we'll see you guys in the next one.